Hey everyone, welcome back to Ace Recaps. Get ready to buckle up for a spine-chilling journey as we delve into the heart-pounding world of a 2023 Tamil horror thriller film titled Boo. Kiara is decorating her entire house for a Halloween party she's planned with her friends. They end up being a little late but soon arrive. Niveta and Mira enter the place and are excited looking at all the preparations made for their party, but Ritu, on the other hand, seems terrified looking at all the scary ornaments in the house. The other girls, however, convince her to stay back by tempting her with food. As the night goes by, all four of them dance together, try out an Ouija board, and stand in front of a mirror chanting Bloody Mary. None of it really works, but Kiara pranks all her friends by pre-planning all the activities. While having their dinner, Kiara tells them about an enchanted book she got from a friend. The rules are that once you start reading the book, you're supposed to read it till the end, and once the experience is completed, you cannot speak about it to anyone. Many people have died reading the book, but the four friends decide to risk it all anyway. Kiara pulls out a book, enchanted and eerie, death, doom, and gloom, but the girls aren't leery. Reading cursed books, a tradition so old, who needs a book club when horror unfolds? Chapter 1. A journalist is seen driving around a new city looking for a place to rent out for the next few months. She's on the call with her boyfriend, disappointed that she hasn't found anything yet. Finally, she comes across a beautiful house that's within her budget, and the landlady lets her in right away on the condition that she isn't allowed to stay there if she ever has hiccups. She lies and immediately accepts the offer. She looks around the house and goes in for a shower where she makes fun of the landlady. Making fun of the landlady while hiccups are on the horizon? This journalist clearly missed the How to Survive a Horror Movie 101 handbook. She starts to hiccup but ignores it and continues with the night. As she tries to order some food, she gets a call from an unknown number, and on the other line is the voice of a man warning her of what's about to come. She ignores the warning once again and prepares some food for herself. While on the call with her mom, her hiccups pop up once again, but this time, every time she does it, the lights in the house flicker. She starts freaking out and tries to drink some water, but it's all empty. She goes in to check the fridge, but everything in there has suddenly disappeared. She runs to the faucet, but suddenly it flips around. Someone needs to tell the ghost to switch to decaf. It's making a real scene. The lights in the house continue to go on and off, and she runs up to her shower where she sees the imprint of a woman under the water. Hiccups causing a techno rave in the house? Must be a new age haunted house feature. She tries to get out of the house but the creepy landlady now stands behind her. A hand without a body offers her a glass of water, and she runs to the door. Unfortunately, she's been locked in. As she begs the landlady to let her out, she gets pulled away and is killed. The landlady now puts up another sign, waiting to kill the next person who shows up at the house. Back in reality, the girls make fun of the story, complaining about how lame a hiccup ghost is. Just then, they start hearing hiccups around the house. Curious about what might be causing the sounds, the girls go from room to room looking for the source but come out empty-handed. The hiccups keep changing locations as though the ghost is moving around the house, so the girls decide to split up and investigate. The hiccups keep getting louder and louder, which freaks them out. They all meet up once again and decide to continue reading the book. Chapter 2. A couple is seen having a good time on a date. On her way back home, she gets distracted by a call and accidentally runs over an old man and a boy. They beg for her help, but the woman panics and drives away. As she gets back home, she washes her hand but spots the two people she just ran over all bloodied. Thinking she's just hallucinating, she ignores it and walks out. Just then, she spots an invisible force playing around with a ball. She hides in fear but sees the little boy tossing the ball through a mirror. She tries to flee, but the TV starts playing out of nowhere, and she sees the old man chilling on the couch. She uses a mirror to try and find the spirits in hopes of escaping them. But she isn't able to find them anywhere in the house. As she looks at her own reflection, she sees the spirit standing right next to her. She leaves everything behind and runs away but sees herself in the mirror acting differently. When she goes in to investigate, she gets trapped inside the mirror forever. Talk about a bad hair day. Note to self, mirrors are not just for checking your lipstick apparently. In the present, the sounds of the hiccups stop, but they start hearing a woman plead for help in the house. Frightened, all four of them go looking for the voice. Unfortunately, Kiara goes missing from the group. As they look for her, they see that she's trapped in the television, and it was her voice that kept echoing throughout the house. Looking at this, Niveta passes out, and the others try to figure out a way to get their best friend out of the television. Kiara keeps pleading for their help but ultimately instructs them to look for an answer in the book. The book tells them to continue reading and that she'd be let out soon, so the two do as the book says. Chapter 3. A woman is texting her boyfriend about their relationship status. When she gets the good news, she celebrates in happiness, but just then she receives a video of a woman pleading with her for help. She forwards this to her boyfriend but suddenly receives another video of her dancing by herself in her apartment. This ghost needs a social life. Maybe a ghost Tinder profile? Just haunting for a good time. She freaks out and looks all around the house for the perpetrator but doesn't find him anywhere. She starts hearing a voice call out to her from the attic, and she goes to check it out. Note to self, if you hear attic voices, it's either ghosts or squirrels having a karaoke night up there. She spots a blanket in the shape of a human, but as she goes to pull it away, the invisible force disappears. When she turns around, the spirit of the woman stands right next to her. She runs and hides in fear but gets another video on her phone, where she sees herself being choked to death. She calls the police for help, but ultimately perishes at the hands of the spirit. Texting about love, receiving ghostly videos, dancing alone, invisible spirits stealing the shows, attic voices and a ghostly choke. This haunted house ain't no joke. In the present, the girls hear the doorbell ring. A cop enters the house claiming that he got a call from a woman in danger and that the call came from that very house. The girls figure out that the woman from the book had made a call before she passed away, but the cop doesn't believe them and decides to search the house. As he's looking around, he comes across Niveta, who's passed out on the floor. Thinking that that's the woman who called him, the cop takes out his gun and tries to arrest the women. He then spots Kiara stuck in the television begging for his help, and he finally believes their story. Just then, he's dragged away by an invisible force, and Kiara is suddenly freed from the television. Niveta also wakes up, and all of them try to look for the cop but do not find him anywhere, so they decide to continue reading the book. Chapter 4, Akash and Aruna, a couple meet up outside a haunted mansion, and the guy claims to be a paranormal investigator. This is supposed to be the most haunted place in the entire city, and he's invented these glasses that help humans see ghosts and wants to be the first man to prove their existence. Aruna is hesitant to go in as she doesn't believe in ghosts, but Akash manages to persuade her. The two enter the mansion and go from room to room in search of ghosts until they are spooked by a headless man. They run in search of the ghost, but as they get to the room, 4 headless men start chasing after them. Headless men in a ghostly chase, love turns to sorrow in this haunted space. The two get separated, and Akash soon spots Aruna being strangled by all 4 headless men. He tries to free her from their hands, but Akash is pushed off the balcony and Aruna is dragged away by the spirits. He continues looking for her around the house and finally sees her running away from him. He chases after her but stops when he notices a body hanging. It turns out it's Aruna, and the woman he was chasing was her ghost. He hugs her and cries as he's just lost the love of his life. When Akash goes back home, Aruna is still seen hanging around him. A few months later, Akash still blames himself for her death. I mean, he did cause it, so well done. His mother comes up to him and urges him to move on by marrying someone else, and he finally agrees. Aruna, who's still around him, doesn't seem to like this. He speaks to a woman on the phone, who turns out to be the first victim in the story. It was Aruna's spirit that killed her. A few more months later, Akash's mother finally convinces him to go on a date that turns out to be the second woman in the story. Turns out, Aruna was behind her disappearance as well. Another few months go by, and Akash is seen texting a girl that turns out to be the third woman in the story. And surprise surprise, Aruna killed her off too. The final message in the book claims that the next bride chosen for Akash is one of the 4 women at the table. All of them start panicking and try to figure out who's going to get married to Akash, but just then the spirits from the book come to life. They chase after the girls and corner them, ready to kill them. Suddenly, Kiara bursts out in laughter. Apparently, she set the whole thing up by placing speakers around the house, pre-recording the video, and so on. The people who helped her with this prank were her maids. She did this so that they'd all have a good Halloween party, and they crack up. Kiara, the mastermind behind it all. Who needs ghosts when you have a friend like her to keep you on your toes? The next morning, Kiara wakes up next to her friends. She is interrupted by her maid, who tells her that her friends met with an accident and passed away last night on the way to the party. On the news, she sees the pictures of her friends being displayed, and so she panics and decides to check up on them sleeping in the room, but the room seems to be empty. When she checks the surveillance footage, she can only see herself laughing and playing around, whereas her friends were never there. It was their spirits who'd come to tell their final goodbyes to Kiara. A few months go by, and Kiara has now moved back in with her parents. Her mom convinces her to get married and that she's already invited a family home. The movie ends as we watch Kiara meet her groom-to-be. It turns out to be Akash himself, the man from the book. That's all folks, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Have a great day.